Hello and welcome to a feature release video on compliance. I'll be covering how to add compliance documents to a property, how to configure the compliance panels, the compliance panel that sits on the main portfolio page, and we'll take a look at the actions panel for renewal actions and how to upload documents there. Compliance documents that can be added to Coho are gas safety certificates, boiler servicing, energy performance certificates or EPCs, electrical installation condition reports or EICRs, fire safety items such as emergency lighting tests, fire alarms, fire blankets, fire extinguishers, fire risk assessments, fire suppression systems, heat alarms and smoke detector tests, HMO licenses where the property has been indicated as an HMO, portable appliance tests or PAT tests, and health and safety items such as carbon monoxide detector checks, Legionella assessments, and asbestos monitoring. The first thing that we're going to look at is how to upload a document to a property that you have just entered onto the Coho system. So what we'll need to do is from our portfolio page, we need to click into that property and then we can start to look at the individual panels. So I've set up a property on the system here. So I'm going to click through to property level. As you can see at the top there, because it is a brand new property, we are getting to some prompts to actually add certain information in. But I'm actually going to scroll down the page and head towards the first compliance panel, which the first one on the list is the gas safety certificate. So we've got a clear indication here in that blue box to say that we need to add a gas safety certificate onto the system. So what I can do from here is expand the panel. I can then see that I've got no valid gas safety certificate that has been uploaded, and I've got a button to click to add a new certificate. If I click add new certificate, this form will open out underneath. Now what we've got here is a valid from date, a valid to date. We've also got an area where we can drop any notes in, and then we've got a section to drop the file in. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and put a date in. As you can see, Coho has been coded to know that a gas safety certificate should last for 12 months. So it's actually already pre-populating that valid to date for us. We can, of course, go into this and make any required changes. So if I want to actually bring it back a day, I can also do that. As I said, I can click on the notes section and add some notes there, or I can just go straight for adding a file into my document section. So I'm going to go into my files. I'm going to find the file that I need to actually add onto the system. And I've just dropped my document in there. As you can see at the bottom, there is a checkbox there to serve the documents via email to all existing and future tenants. This can be really, really useful to make sure that your tenants have got access to the latest documents. If your tenant's been invited to Coho and they also have access to their dashboard, they will also be able to see that latest document uploaded onto their dashboard automatically. I'm going to uncheck this because I've not actually got any tenant information in this property as of yet. So I'm going to click add. And there you can see we have now added that document on. It's very clear, the valid from date and the valid to date. I can, of course, remove it. I can view it. I can download it. And then, of course, I can add a new certificate on if a new certificate is required. Adding documents on to the other compliance panels follows exactly the same format. There is a few other fields that you are required to fill out. So for example, if we add an EPC on, it will ask you what the current score, the potential score and the rating is. If you add in an HMO license, there is a field to add the HMO license reference number as well. The next thing that we're going to look at is the settings cog. You will find a settings cog next to every single compliance panel, and it is absolutely worth clicking on every single one of them just to see what you can configure, how you can tweak and change that panel just to make it work for you a little bit better. So for example, for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to stick with the gas safety certificate and I'm going to click on the cog. Now, of course, the first thing to point out here is the ability to turn a panel off. If, for example, there is no gas at the property, so a gas safety certificate is not required, Coho by default will have everything switched on for you. So if you do not require to track and monitor that particular compliance item, you can of course go ahead and switch it off and then save accordingly at the bottom. Everything, like I said, is on by default and set to manual. So the options that we do have here for the gas safety is how many weeks before it's due should we remind you? So what that is asking us is how many weeks before the valid to end date that we are putting in, do you need an action in your actions panel or a notification to alert you that this document is coming up for renewal? So if we use the drop down box here, we have got 1 to 10 weeks there. So depending on how much time you need beforehand to be alerted of that renewal coming into effect, then you can change this accordingly. There is also another checkbox at the bottom to create a maintenance issue automatically. So what we can do here is actually checkbox this, that when it does come up for renewal, 6 weeks before the end date, it will automatically create a maintenance issue, which you can pick up in the maintenance panel and of course push out to the relevant supplier. And then, of course, again, I will always emphasize the saving options at the bottom. We can save this configuration of 6 weeks and creating a maintenance issue automatically, but just save this configuration against the property that we happen to be in, or we can save this configuration for all properties. So it will update the settings cog on all properties across the whole portfolio. So I've just clicked save there. So now my document is added, my settings cog is configured, and everything is good to go. The next part that we're going to look at is the compliance panel that sits on your main portfolio page. So I am back at the main portfolio page and I'm going to click on the compliance menu at the side there, and the compliance panel will be displayed for me. So whereas we've talked about dropping into a property, that is where you need to upload any information and the document that you've got on the individual compliance panels. This panel here is giving you a really broad overview. So what we can look at here is the different types of documents that we've added into each of the property. And we can also look at all of the dates all in one place. So this saves us from having to click around in and out of individual properties, finding the compliance panels and looking at the information there. When you open up this panel, it will default to expired. We can use the drop down box here and choose another filtering category. I'm going to click on all for the purpose of this demonstration. So it is now loading in all of the individual categories, and we've also got an all box at the end there. So if I select that all, what I can now see is every single property, the type of document that's been added, its status, when it was last carried out, and the expiry date. So like I said at the beginning, I don't need to go clicking around in and out of properties. I can just look at this one panel and have all that information in front of me. I can also export to CSV at the bottom there if I do need to get a CSV file out. The next section that we're actually going to take a look at is what it looks like on your actions panel when we've previously put in a document and some dates and that renewal has actually entered onto the system. You will find that action in your actions panel. So from your main portfolio page, I'm going to click on the actions panel and it will navigate me down to the panel and open that up for me. So as we can see here, we've got a gas safety certificate required on this property. And what I can actually do is click view at the side, open out all the information. And as you can see, we've got exactly the same fields as if we'd actually dropped into the property, navigated down to the gas safety certificate panel, opened it out and clicked to add a new document there. Doing it from your actions panel, it's probably going to save you 3 or 4 clicks. So I should definitely recommend doing it from your actions panel if you find that easier. So what I can do from here is add my valid from date. I will obviously get my valid to date, which I can adjust. I can again add some notes and I can drop my file in And again, I can serve those documents via email to all existing and future tenants. So I can add this on from the actions panel. At the point that I click add, it will clear the action for me, and I will be able to navigate into the property, down to the gas safety certificate panel, and see the information that I've entered there as well. So that was a short video on how to add compliance documents against the property, how to configure the compliance panels, which again, I would definitely recommend configuring those to make them work for you a little bit better, and what it looks like when you have a renewal in your actions panel. I hope that has helped you today. Thank you very much.